Another thing that we do wrong, out of order.
File every single claim. I would have to say that's the big
Okay.
You know,
That's my boyfriend.
Yeah, you know,
I
oh,
tell
they
him all
stole
the
my
time.
radio. They took this. I want to file a claim. No, you got to learn to. That's going to just be a bump.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Never Broke Nation podcast. And hey.
What's up, y'all? Hey,
So
y'all.
I'm Janai Thornton. Y'all introduce yourselves.
I'm Chris Hollis.
I'm Alicia Tillman. I'm Brandy Hills.
I'm so excited to introduce our very, very, very special guest and my friend, Miss Carol Jones. So I know we always are complaining, like, dang, why do I spend so much money on insurance?
Oh my gosh.
Insurance is
Jesus.
the devil.
It's so different.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And so we're really privileged to have Carol,
Yes.
who's been in the insurance business 30 years, although it makes it look like she was like 10 when she started.
Right.
But she is a State Farm office owner, not just an agent. She owns her own office. That website is cjonesinsurance.com. But today we're going to talk about car insurance
Yes.
with our friend and resident expert, Miss Carol Jones.
Yes. Yeah, so we're so glad to have you again here with us. So I want to ask this question first. I am actually looking for a new agent
Okay.
for my car insurance. So what should I be looking for?
Okay. I always tell people insurance in general is just like your fingerprint. It's going to be different for everybody. So you can't go in there with a cookie cutter approach.
Okay.
You have to think about where you are right now in your life. Am I married? Am I single? Is my car 10 years old or is it 2 years old? Do I need comprehensive and collision? What does my emergency savings look like in terms of putting aside for my deductible? So can I stand to have a $500 deductible, or do I want $1,000 so that I can keep my costs low? And then think about where you are in your life. Think about what it would take for you to recover in the event of a loss. And that's how you approach it. When somebody just says, I'm going to give you full coverage, this is what you will have, know exactly what those numbers mean. Don't be afraid to pull back and say, hey, look, that doesn't fit me. Let's change this. Let's talk about my liability. Let's talk about my comprehensive coverage. So you really want to know specifically what it is for you.
Got you. So how do you, is there a way you can look to see if you're with a good company? As far as insurance, like, you know, sometimes there's so many insurance companies out there. Like, how do you know what's good for you?
Absolutely so. Again, you want to look at where you are. I always say with anything, all soda ain't cola and all cola ain't Coke. So you gotta make sure if you just want cola, okay, fine, just get anything. But you gotta know what that means for you. So look at the big companies. Don't be afraid to shop around. Don't be afraid to see what sets one company apart from the other. If having a relationship is good for you, then you need to go with somebody that has captive agents. If you don't care about shopping online and, you know, getting general chat back and forth, then maybe you can go with a Geico or a Progressive or that sort of thing. But you always want to make sure that whatever you choose, it fits you.
And
You
said
can't
captive,
pick.
You
Yeah.
said captive agents. What is that?
So that would be somebody like myself. I only work for one company. So I sell one company's product. That's all I'm focused on day in and day out with my clients or with potential clients. Whereas somebody that works for several different companies,
They're
or
more like a broker.
a broker,
Okay.
absolutely. So then you want to figure out what you need. Some people like the hand holding. Some people like the comfort of being able to reach out to just one person, and that person knows about them and their family.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So I know a lot of us are dealing with, you know, insurance. The rates can be crazy. So like what all goes into a rate? Like what can make your rate crazy high?
Okay, so in the state of Georgia, I'm sure most of us all have experienced it. Rates have continued to just increase renewal after renewal. You're constantly calling in, checking in with your agent or dialing in to find out, why is my rate increasing? I haven't had any tickets or accidents.
Right.
Well, the state of Georgia in itself is in a place where we've got so many people driving. Nobody's pretty much using public transportation. So many more drivers on the road. And then one thing that most people don't consider that's a factor in the number of accidents in Georgia, technology. Everybody's on their phones. So it used to be the lady was just putting her eyeliner on at the light. Now she's texting and
I've
putting
seen
the
Chris
eyeliner
do that,
right.
literally.
That is a craft. That is really a talent.
I would do
because
a full face.
I could not. I would not do good with that.
And in years past, when we were starting to drive, our parents allowed us to drive to the high school back home.
Right.
Now kids are all over the place. They're inexperienced drivers. So that has a big play in it. And then how many claims turn into actual lawsuits.
Right.
So we all know insurance is spread among all of us, whether it's good or bad. So my good rate, my good driving record is helping somebody else's bad rate based on their driving record. So that has a lot to do with it.
What about
Okay.
your credit?
Credit can play a factor. And it's just like anything else. While we don't get an actual credit score, but again, we're concerned about the person that's getting insurance coverage with one company today and then hopping over to another company 2 months later and then having an accident. And then they're looking at the way that they pay their bills. Everything goes back to how we pay our bills.
How you behave. What about zip code?
Zip code can be a factor.
Yeah.
So, somebody says, oh, I moved to Southwest Atlanta. I'm so excited. My first home. And the insurance rate goes up $200. I was just in Alpharetta. Why $200? I mean, so all of that goes into that mixture of what determines our rate. So we're looking at the type of car we drive, the zip code we live in, the age of the driver, the driving record, credit factors. So all of that plays into the type of rates that we will get.
When is it the time to submit a claim? When do you submit a claim?
Okay. So first you want to consider exactly what happened. Is it a claim where you hit somebody from behind? Is it a rock hitting your windshield kind of thing? So you want to take into consideration exactly what happened. Talk that part through. Then know which of your coverages apply. So, okay, you've hit somebody from behind. You've totally damaged the rear end of their car. You need to file a claim. Now, a rock hitting your windshield and you've got a $500 deductible, don't submit a claim.
Right.
You can probably get your windshield either repaired or replaced for under that deductible of $500,
Right.
so to speak. And then with the collision yourself, I wasn't paying attention, hit the curb, messed up my tire. My thing there is get an estimate for your damages before you go and submit a claim. Because what you don't want is a history of claims and then you render yourself uninsurable by one company and then somebody else is going to double your rates for you to be insured the next time.
Assuming you're in an accident and you're okay, it's not, what's the first thing you do?
Well, they want you to call the police, number one.
Okay.
Second thing, contact your insurance company, but you don't want to admit fault. I would never suggest admitting fault. You don't know if the way that you describe the accident could really be considered that somebody jumped over into my lane. I just didn't hit them from behind. Somebody signaled, jumped in my lane without signaling.
Right.
So you want to definitely talk it through. Make sure you have a clear understanding of what happened and let the police kind of guide you and your insurance company guide you with, okay, well, exactly what happened. State the facts exactly the way that it occurred. And you don't have to feel bad that, oh, my God, I'm sorry I hit you from behind. It's all my fault. Well, it may not be. If she crossed over 3 lanes and then suddenly she's in your path.
Okay. I want to make sure everyone's been paying attention. So, Carol, do you have any trivia for us?
Yeah, let's talk about one. Uninsured motorist versus underinsured motorist. What's the difference?
Go ahead, Brandy. I'm calling her out.
I knew you guys were about to call me out. I just saw the look on her face.
Eye contact.
So what was it again? Uninsured motorist versus underinsured.
Underinsured
Okay.
motorist.
copy
So
that.
uninsured motorists, that just means that you don't have insurance at all.
Absolutely.
Underinsured, you have insurance, but you don't have enough coverage for, I guess, whatever that situation is.
Absolutely. So
A plus.
Yeah,
So you definitely, with uninsured and underinsured, you can get it together. You can have just uninsured motorists. So it's exactly what you said. Somebody hits you, and for whatever reason, they don't have coverage. They let it lapse or what have you. They have no coverage, but they are the at-fault party. So then you have some protection in your policy if you've selected that coverage to cover your damages to your vehicle and your injuries possibly. Underinsured. Somebody's got state liability limits. They've hit my Rolls Royce.
Right.
They don't have enough coverage, so they are underinsured. So I can have that protection that has underinsured coupled with uninsured motorists to make sure that I'm totally protected when somebody else is at fault.
So are there a lot of people in Georgia that have, because we're in Georgia, there are a lot of people that have just liability?
Yeah.
Like, do you
Some
know
people,
that?
most people that I come across have liability and at least uninsured motorists. Maybe not underinsured, but there again, it's a time to have a conversation with your agent where you're saying,
write that down.
what gaps do I have? Did I cover everything?
Right.
And then go back and check off. I need this, I don't need that. I need more of this, I need less of that. So it's one of those things.
So I'm assuming probably nationally, that's probably a big problem, though. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, because cars cost more.
Right.
So if in every state there's some state minimum that you have to have, and that's all you're thinking about when you're calling into a company saying, hey, I want to get liability coverage, but not knowing what that means to you from a financial responsibility standpoint.
Well, I guess, y'all, when you think about it, if you're making a decision simply based on money, you're getting simply what you can afford, not what you
Right.
really need to
Right.
have.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Right.
used to be that person.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So, Carol, you talk about talking to your agent to make sure you have what you need. But how often should you be calling your agent just to get a review of your insurance coverage?
Good question.
I typically try to review with clients once a year or at least every other year because so much can change. Marital status changes, a new driver in the household, a driver has come out of the household. I've purchased another car worth more money. My 17-year-old son is driving. My 18-year-old daughter has gone away to college. So much can change. And I think you have to go with a company or at least an agent that sets that as the tone. We need to review. We need to talk about what's going on in your life, not from the standpoint so that the company can make more money, but to make sure that I don't leave you out there unprotected.
Right.
So sometimes you can say, well, you know what, I've had this 1991 Ford Taurus for 20 years now. Do I really need comprehensive coverage? Do I really need collision? Well, the car's only worth $300.
Right.
Right.
So hey, let's do away with some of this coverage. Let's scale it back a little bit.
Got it.
Do you mind breaking down what comprehensive and collision insurance is? Like, just kind of breaking that down.
Absolutely. So comprehensive is other than collision and other than maintenance of your car. A rock hitting your windshield, somebody stealing your car, somebody vandalizing your car, a tree falling on your car. So those are the things that would come under comprehensive. We're not talking about getting new brakes. I'm not talking about getting your check engine light taken care of. So it's other than collision and other than maintenance of the car.
Okay.
Then collision. Collision is what you choose for your vehicle. So you hit somebody from behind. So your liability is going to take care of their car. Your collision takes care of your vehicle. So if I have $10,000 worth of damage to my Cadillac, so I've got a deductible under my collision, say it's $500. The company is responsible for $9,500. Your responsibility for your collision is $500. And you don't have to get those coverages together. Sometimes I'll run into clients and they'll say, well, I've got to get comprehensive and collision. No, you don't. There again, that's why you don't want anybody to sell you a cookie cutter product.
Okay.
I may want to keep comprehensive on my car because I'm more concerned about a tree falling on my car because my driveway is lined with trees.
Right.
But it's older and I'm not so worried about the collision. I think I'm a pretty good driver, so I'm not worried about that part of it. So you can pick and choose the parts of your policy that you need and want.
Got it. Okay.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
So earlier, Carol, we talked about how there's some instances where you can't change the fact that your rates are going to increase because different things that are happening in the state that you're living in. So I've heard before that every 3 years or so, you should switch insurance carriers to get a better rate. Is that true?
I always tell people, make sure that your coverage and your company fit where you are. I am quick to tell clients I'm no longer the best fit. Maybe you should try another company because you've got certain things going on in your life where I can't accommodate the need and keep the price where you want it. So it does no harm in shopping. The quotes are free. And so many companies do things with affinity discounts or multi-line discounts. We're kind of bundling things together that may make sense for a particular household. So I always say, check around, look around. Now, the longer you've been with a company, the harder it is to leave because you've accumulated discounts that, say, another company can't offer you immediately. So you've kind of build up to those things. So if you're going to shop, maybe, yes, shop in the first 3 years or shop when you've got some major changes in your life. Retirement, new drivers, change in driving record, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So definitely check, but always know that you want to check off what's on your list and not what somebody's just trying to package for you based on price.
Brandy, I'm glad that you brought that up because it's funny. I don't think I've ever heard that before, but I have a completely different perspective because I'm thinking I need the person on the phone to know exactly who I am, and I need a relationship and rapport because you don't care about it until you actually have an accident or someone steals your car. But if you got some new insurance agent and you've been, hopping, they don't really care who you are. And I think that's, when Carol came today, we were talking, I think we started working together in 95.
Yes.
Wow.
And so it's like, I've called her at home, and I've had to get some help for real, but you can make miracles happen. People will go the extra mile for you when they know who you are, they know your family, they know what's going on versus it's only about the price.
That makes
And
sense.
I never really saw the value in that until meeting you. Because I was one of those people who would call the 1-800 number and just get the quote. And, okay, yeah, I can meet that deductible. Yeah. But just with talking to you, I just realized the value in having someone that's looking out for me. Right. You know what I mean? Because, you call blank, they're like, okay, this is what we do. Like, as you say, cookie cutter. So, I definitely am thinking with that mindset now, like, who is there for me? You know what I mean?
Right, because some of them have attitudes, they don't want to be at work today,
Or you're like Carol said, you're on that chat, like you don't even have a person anymore.
That's the truth.
Yeah, I'm just like, I need a person who's going to be like, I got you, you're good. Or not just when you're in trouble, but I've also used Carol as a resource, like, how do we handle this? Should we do this or this? And to have that trust and rapport, should we file a claim or not? Should we get this insured? Like, what should we do here? Because we don't know. We're just rolling the dice. And a lot of times we're making decisions just based on money.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm guilty.
Guilty is charged.
Yeah.
Guilty.
And most of us are, but you have to take certain things in your life the same way you would have your doctor. You're not going to switch a doctor every year.
Right.
Because you want that
Relationship and
doctor
rapport.
to know something about you. They know your history. They know the things that are going
That's a
on.
good analogy.
And the same thing with your insurance. You want to make sure that they know something about you. I try to make notes about my clients so that I can remember to ask certain things, that they may not even be thinking about. Did you put that in-ground pool in? Oh, yeah, well, let's talk about that. So we can make sure that I, too, do my part to make sure that there are no gaps anywhere.
Gotcha. Now, I do have one more question. So the other day, my car broke down, and I had to call Roadside Service. I was told that too many of those can actually count as a claim or negatively against you. Is that true?
That can be true. So the goal of emergency road service is just that. Emergency road service. You're stranded at 2:00 in the morning because all of a sudden your car just stopped on you. It's not designed for you to use it every other week because okay, I'm gonna tend to that light that keeps coming on, but right now I just need to get from point A to point B.
Wow.
Well, it's no longer emergency road service. We're trying to help you maintain your car at that point until payday. Yeah. So all
Better call
of
Pookie
that-
down the street for that.
Exactly. So you any claim, you don't want to be one that's constantly filing claims. You want to assume the responsibility that you can with keeping your vehicle safe.
Wow.
So are you suggesting then for roadside we need to have outside like AAA versus having it through State Farm or another, like what do you?
I don't think it's a bad thing to have it with your insurance company.
Okay.
It's just how you use it. It's just like with anything else. You've got to use it in moderation because a claim is a claim from our perspective.
Right.
It's not that, oh my God, well, I didn't know it was going to break down again. They told me it should last for 2 weeks. It didn't, that kind of thing. So you want to just kind of be sure that when you use it, it's not
Don't
going to be a
abuse it.
regular thing. And some people, they opt for other options. I've heard of people getting it through their cell phone provider. And then you have always had companies like AAA.
Yeah.
So there again, let's leverage exactly which coverage you need with which company.
That makes sense. All right, couple last questions for you, Carol. We need some insider intel from you. So what are some of the most common mistakes you see people make when it comes to auto insurance?
Underinsuring themselves.
I know it.
That's the number one.
Yeah.
Number one all the way around. When you think about just having liability coverage, most people don't know. They don't know what that means for them.
Right.
So when I told them, well, state limits are $25,000 for bodily injury that you cause to somebody, but no more than $50,000 per accident, and then $25,000 for the property damage itself that you've caused. Well, if you total the average car on the street now, it's over $25,000.
Right.
You see.
You don't have enough coverage when they even consider the cars that they're driving. If somebody hit your car, do you want to have to pay the rest of the bill for somebody else's mistake?
Right.
And so I would say underinsurance is the big kicker, but it's because we don't have enough information. You don't know what it means. Okay, so what do I need? How do I figure that out? And that's when you have to have the detailed conversations with an agent or a representative from a company to really find out. I want my insurance DNA to represent me. I don't want it to be what you use for yourself or what you used for your grandmother. What do I need? How do I determine that? So I would say being underinsured.
All right, give us one more. Another thing that we do wrong, out of order.
File every single claim. I would have to say that's the big kicker.
That's my boyfriend.
Oh,
tell
they
him all the
stole my
time.
radio. They took this. I want to file a claim. No, you got to learn to. That's going to just be a bump. I just got a little bruise on my shoulder. I'll have to replace that radio and keep it moving. You want to keep it for major things that are hard to recover from. A tree falling on your car, major. Somebody stealing one rim, not so major.
So I was told
Oh my God. I know what y'all were talking about.
no,
Yes,
I'm ready.
I do.
that if you only slash 3 tires, the insurance will not pay for it. But if you slash all 4, then the insurance will take care of it.
Let us pray. So vandalism is vandalism. It's whether or not you want to file it. Yeah.
Any other urban myths you want to clear up while we're here? Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah. It does not cost more to insure a red car. I don't know where people
Really? I
heard that, and my first car was a red car, and I was told that.
So that's not true.
color has nothing to do.
I'm about to go change my car right now.
Yeah.
So go ahead, drive your red car. That's fine. That's absolutely fine.
Wow. I always thought that. I was always been told that.
Urban myth. Get out.
That's interesting.
We've never asked you for the color of your car. No,
You don't even ask us.
never.
Any other urban myths?
We only owe you for the value of your car. people always think, oh, they totaled my car, they're not going to pay it off. We only owe the value. So sometimes, you have those situations where people are upside down in their car. Paid $25,000 for a car that's only worth $15,000. We owe you $15,000. That's always a tough pill to swallow.
Yes.
For a lot, especially young drivers, but they're learning. They're learning, and it's my job to say, hey, make sure that you've protected yourself on the financing side, because we will pay you for the value of the car in the event of a total loss, but we don't owe you to pay it off.
Isn't that something painful?
I guess that's where gap insurance comes in.
Yeah. So then they have companies that will take care of gap insurance to cover that.
Is gap a good thing to get?
It depends. There again, it depends on your situation. So if I purchase, say, a Honda Accord and I put $10,000 down, I'm pretty good on the upside. But if I've traded in a car that I owe $30,000 on to go and finance a Honda, then maybe I would have to consider gap insurance, because I'm taking on some negative equity and buying another car, so I'm adding something onto it. So then gap insurance is not a bad idea.
Does State Farm offer gap insurance?
State Farm can offer gap insurance through their bank if they do the vehicle financing.
If they find, got it.
Yeah. But sold as an actual product, no, we don't just sell it as a product.
Attached to financing. One more thing I wanted to ask you is discounts, because obviously a lot of this conversation has been about money. We all want to save money. What can we do to get our policy premiums lower? What discounts or things should we be aware of?
Okay. Higher your deductible, the lower your premium. Defensive driving courses make a difference. Nice. You can take a defensive driving course and it can lower the liability and collision portions of your premium by up to 10%. If you have a young driver, good student discount, driver's training discount, or maybe they are part of some sort of group or organization that can make a difference. Some companies offer affinity discounts, being a part of a certain sorority or fraternity, or being a government employee, or being military. So those types of things. Having a car rated as pleasure versus commuting. So you've got 3 cars. Well, clearly you can't drive all 3 of them to work every day. Which is the car that you normally have parked at home, that you're driving less than, say, your commuting car every day. So it makes a difference. Those are the things that will make a difference. Vehicle safety discounts can also apply. Anti-lock brakes, special seat belts, those types of things will also make airbags, passenger, driver, side airbags, those types of things can also make a difference.
Does it factor in like how far you work? I know sometimes they ask that a lot, like how far do you live from your job?
Absolutely, and that again goes into the mileage. So the rule being, I'm thinking if I drive an hour and a half to work, whereas you work right around the corner, the likelihood of me having an opportunity to have an accident is far greater than you just going around the corner. So yeah, that's why you're asking about different ratings for commuting and for pleasure discount.
Well, that's a good point, though. Part of the reason why you need the policy review, because if your job changes, maybe you did have a crazy commute, now you don't anymore, you could end up paying less money, because you have.
That one little thing. So when you were talking about the defensive courses, do you have to take that like every year when you get your...
Generally those courses are good for 3 years.
Okay.
So if you took one today, then it's good for 3 years.
So, but does it help my renewal?
Yes. So it's going to stay on your actual policy. It's going to be a part of your discount package for 3 years. Unless something crazy happens. Go get an accident. Now we're going to remove the discount. And then also, just like with your phone bill, people want to bundle things together. So if you got your car and your homeowner's insurance together, that could give you a discount. Your car insurance and maybe some life insurance, that could provide a discount for you as well. Because the goal is, we as a company, any company, would like to earn all your business. So by giving us an opportunity to ensure more than one part of your life could actually provide you with additional discounts.
You're going to give us an incentive to do that.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So I've got a couple questions from social media that I need to ask you.
Okay.
So this is coming from David, who wanted to know about this whole Multicar. So if you do have that primary car that you're driving, but you have that secondary car, what information do we need to provide to you as our insurance agent?
Okay, so in a case like that, having 2 cars, first of all, is going to get you a discount. So you're going to get multi-car. But then you're always, again, telling your agent or telling your company about the usage of that vehicle. I drive my truck every day to work. I commute about 15,000 miles a year. This is my commuting car. But I also have this Jeep that I normally drive on Sunday afternoons, just to ride through the country. And I drive that about 2,000 or 3,000 miles a year. So you want to give information, one, so the agent can make recommendations about how you should have that car insured. And then what could possibly lower that rate. So I'm not commuting in it every day, once a week, twice a week, Saturday, Sunday kind of thing, or special occasions. So you want to make sure that we are rating you appropriately based on usage.
One thing that I've learned too as a parent is when you have a child at home, when you have a child in college, but the car is at home, you need to let your insurance agent know that as well. Because now they're not driving the car right now, because you could end up paying that same price.
Absolutely. At that point, of course, a youthful driver will take anybody's rates out the roof. But when that kid goes away to college 200 or 300 miles away, he's not driving. Comes home for spring break, comes home for summer break, Christmas, Thanksgiving. So companies can have like a student away discount where that rate trends backwards instead of staying high. Because at that point, either the car is parked or the parents are back to being the principal operator of that car.
Yeah, that's one thing I learned. So I want to just talk about this whole youthful driver. I have a personal testimony. I hope my husband's not going to be mad that I tell this story. David. But so Cameron was in high school and was in the car with his cousin and one of his friends.
I remember this one.
Jesus, this boy got into an accident on 285. I was like, Lord, please let me get to this boy before David does, and because he's going to kill him on the highway. So I'm going to have a car accident and a murder. Then I'm going to have to do it. So, I am so glad that I made it just in time. The police literally were trying to talk David down. No one's even focused on the accident. Everyone's just trying to calm David down, And I'm just like, Lord, help me, please. But this whole teen driving, what do you do? Do you add your child to the policy? You get the separate policy? What's the best way? Because it is so expensive to insure young people.
It is. So the reality is you're going to have to add them to your policy. A 16-year-old can't get his own contract, his own policy. So you want to add them. But there again, I remember my dad telling me, this is a privilege. You have to enforce that with the children all the time. They've got way more distractions than we ever had. They're Snapchatting, Instagramming, and all of that. But the liability that the family is exposed to as a result of that child driving can have grave consequences.
Definitely.
So that is definitely a primary reason why you want to make sure you're not underinsured.
Right.
Kids don't know how to correct without overcorrecting. They're just learning. They didn't realize that the light was going to turn red so quickly, so they tried to go through an intersection. So it's all sorts of things. But I do believe in educating the child. If you can get them in a driver's training class or even a parent that's super patient to teach them about the hows and whys of making a left turn, about why you don't always have to turn on red, and making sure that you look both ways at a four-way stop sign and counting the cars, knowing when it is your turn. So because all that makes a difference.
A lot of car makers now have those teen safety features where you can't use your internet or your phone in the car, or the music can't come up too loud,
Or you can't drive over a certain speed.
Yes.
I wonder if does that play into the discounts?
We don't have it yet with my company, but I can see as technology improves, it's going to happen. Because again, we are also playing against technology as insurance companies. We've got to set a standard that says, choose us, and this is why. And that helps parents. Now, different companies do have certain in-drive kind of things that you can put in your car, where you can kind of monitor your kids driving.
Great idea.
You can check the speed that they're driving, how they're braking, how they make right turns versus left turns, that sort of thing. So all of those things can help with the rate. and also help with the whole mom's watching kind of thing.
Right.
So
I've learned so much today.
Right.
I know Chris has notes. Official. You are official over here.
I literally took notes. I'm like, yeah.
Well, Carol, we appreciate you, our resident insurance
thank
expert.
you.
We
Thank
look
you
so
forward to
much.
having you back again for other segments,
Yes.
homeowners
definitely.
and otherwise. Absolutely. So
I'm
again,
ready.
Carol Jones at cjonesinsurance.com. She's an owner of State Farm agent here in Georgia. So unfortunately, y'all listening outside of Georgia, you can't use her. But all of you Georgia residents can. So
Yes,
again, we
call
appreciate
her.
your time.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming to the Never Broke Nation podcast today.
Thank you.